What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back, and this is game number 4 between TAiLS and Genius. Right now, Genius is up 2-1. TAiLS ending up winning last game. And here we go again, game number 4. Now, as you can see, we are on the Shatter Temple. We've got Genius spawning in the 3 o'clock position as our red Zerg player. And then right over here in the 12 o'clock is TAiLS as the orange Terran player. Now, as we can see, they are in a close air distance position, and the Overlord of Genius will be scouting out TAiLS momentarily. I expect him likely to get just far enough to scout that command center, and then he should either head over in this direction to check to see if there's a 2 racks or anything like that, or he may just try to pull back to try to hide his Overlord. So let's take a look at exactly what Genius ends up doing here. There's all sorts of different options, but a lot of times you do want to try to deny that Terran player scouting out your Overlord, and there you go. He's actually just going to be chilling out right now at the moment with the Overlord at the corner of TAiLS base. Now, a lot of times on this map, or even on Shakura's plateau, you will see the players check the corner of their base just to look for that scouting Overlord. Unfortunately, that is something that TAiLS has yet to do, and he is not within vision of the Overlord. You can see just barely out of the range. That is precisely where Genius is staying on purpose, of course. Now, taking a look back over here, Genius, what is he going to decide to do? He has now got that scouting information, and it does appear like he will be going with 15 hatch. As you can see, moving down with that drone right now, he'll be dropping the hatchery, going for that quick expansion at 15 supply, and then following that up with the pool and extractor. So there you go, Genius deciding to open up right away with that expansion, as opposed to what we saw last game. You know, last game we did see Genius start off with some one-base play, and unfortunately he dealt with that contain from TAiLS, and then he tried to all-in from there, going for a counterattack, but TAiLS was just barely able to defend against that, and subsequently ended up getting the victory. TAiLS now scouting out, knowing exactly where Genius is, as he has finally seen that Overlord as Genius continued to move it across there. He wanted to check and see how many refineries were up and how many miners were, actually, how many guys were gathering from that. You know, you want to know if there's maybe just one SCV gathering from the refinery that's tipping you off to some sort of a quick expand, maybe like a Reaper fast expand. If there's no refinery at all, that's going to tell you that there's a 1-racks expand coming out. All that stuff's very important intel, and that's exactly why Genius delayed the Overlord and then pushed out to scout with it. Now, one big thing, as you can see here, Genius sitting with that Overlord, that's going to give him vision to see if there's any bunker or SCV harass early on, and then shortly, once he starts to get some Zerglings into play, he's going to actually want to pull that Overlord away because he doesn't want to lose it to any early Marine aggression. Now, we can see over here from TAiLS, we've got a 1-racks and factory opening, and it looks like, yes, we will be seeing that reactor go down onto that racks, and that's going to allow for the hot swap with the factory. And of course, what that means is that TAiLS will be opening up with some Hellion play, and we could very well then see him move into an expansion. Opening up with Hellions for map control right into an Expo, very popular and effective tactic for Terran players in this matchup. Back over here, we can see only one guy on the extractor at the moment for Genius. He's trying to get more and more minerals so that he can get those queens out early and drone up nice and hard. We'll be moving out initially with just these 2 Zerglings. We'll be scouting out with that. TAiLS needs to pull back with that SCV. There we go. It's actually pulling down to the lower left-hand position. He's doing this so that he can try to pull on in for a secondary scout, and look at that. You can see he's rallied right on over. So there goes the SCV of TAiLS moving in for a secondary scout. He wants to see if he can make his way up into the main base. He wants to scout if there is a Roach War and Baneling's Nest. He also wants to see if layer tech's coming through. A little issue there. He actually stopped the SCV right on the edge, and that was not on purpose. That was a miss micro. Most certainly, he wanted that to just shoot straight into the main base, and because of that miss micro, he actually ended up getting no scouting information. Very unfortunate situation indeed. Genius now sitting at the tower. He's also going to be moving there with a Zergling and bypassing the center there, just avoiding those Hellions. The Hellions able to roast that 1 Zergling, but here comes that 2nd Zergling, getting the scouting information. He's about to push right into the main base Marine, trying to do what he can to micro. There we go. Getting the depots up just in time. Here come the Hellions. Unfortunately, that Spine Crawler, that's a little bit too much opposition for them, and those Hellions are going to be forced to stay back for the moment. Now, they are still providing TAiLS with map control. This is a very important aspect of what's going on right now, and we can see actually very interesting here. He is coming out with an expansion, but at the same time, we've got Stimpack and Marauders coming out, as well as that constant stream of Hellions. So there we go. Again, the map control is going to be going to TAiLS right now until Genius actually mounts up enough of a force to break through that. Now, he's coming out with 8 Zerglings. This is not to attempt to break this just yet, but he just wants to make sure he can defend himself just in case these Hellions try to push in. So getting just enough to survive and then droning up. That's the basic idea behind what he's doing. Still more and more Hellions. Now, this is indicative of the fact that TAiLS will be coming out with a very strong Hellion push at some point. Maybe not immediately. He's going to wait until he gets a couple more, but a very strong push is about to come from TAiLS. Were he to just have stuck with those 2 to 4 Hellions and then made a transition, then we would have figured, okay, he's just going for map control and then working his way into the middle and later stages of the game. But no, it is in fact the case that TAiLS will be pushing out very, very shortly with this very strong Marauder and Hellion push. As you can see, he's also just about got Stim Pack researched. There we go, Marauders moving in right now. We'll be target firing down that Spine Crawler. Wants to get that down as quickly as possible. And the Zerglings get a full surround on those Marauders. Down to no Marauders right now, so he's just sitting with those Hellions. We had a couple Spines about to come up. 24 more Zerglings. Very nice building placement of that Baneling Nest. That's going to prevent those Hellions from being able to move on in. And that Queen defense, plus the fact that he's buying enough time to get up those Spine Crawlers, Genius should be doing all right against this. It does not look like TAiLS is going to be able to bust through. Very nice there with those Zerglings and his Queens, buying himself just enough time. He took out those Marauders nice and early as well. That was an excellent defense there from Genius, and here comes the counterattack right now with those Speedlings. However, actually, he has been spotted, so he'll be just trying to mop up a couple Hellions here and there, but he does need to be careful about getting caught by that main group of Hellions over here. So one's going to move forward to scout out the Hellions. He wants to see how many are there in the center of the map. The rest of them heading back home. Spine Crawlers rerouting over in this position. And once again, I was just very impressed with the defense there by Genius. He did an excellent job of defending against what could have been a pretty devastating push there. Had TAiLS busted through the Queens and the Spine Crawlers at the front, and had those Hellions gotten into that main resource line, that would have been absolutely devastating indeed. We're going to see Genius now working down these back rocks. He's prepared to move into his third expansion. Now let's take a look over here for TAiLS. What is he doing? Looks like Marines. Pumping out those Marines right now, but besides that, I'm not seeing any tanks coming out. Now, we do have the Tech Lab finally coming down in the factory, so hopefully he does make that transition into that typical Marine tank style of play. Now just sitting with a few Marines and Marauders, also those Hellions, still at the center of the map. Dropping a scan there, allowing him to take out these 2 Creep Tumors. That's certainly unfortunate right now for Genius. Genius will be, almost losing that one as well. And is he going to drop another scan? He's sitting on the edge with those Hellions. Doing unbelievable, just trying to do what he can to roast that last Creep Tumor there. Unfortunately, that is still alive, so he's still getting the vision from that, and he's also dropped 2 fresh Creep Tumors down, going to allow him to continue the spread of that creep. Transition right now for Genius, going to be Mutas. In fact, 11 Mutas just popping right now. Genius will finally be moving out with some harass of his own, and it is about damn time indeed. Again, center of the map control still in TAiLS' favor, but look at this. Here come those Mutas, and he has got, yes, it is 11 in play, and those Marines trying to shoo them away, but not quite threatening enough yet. He does not have enough Marine numbers to really be incredibly scary to Genius, so Genius is still kind of able to dance around. He's going to continue to work up those Marine numbers. He's got those Muta numbers. He's got 3 more Mutas coming in. Also, the level 1 flyer attack upgrades coming out for those Mutalists. Speedlings moving to the center of the map, and he will be trying to engage those Hellions right now, getting us around on the backside, allowing those Mutas to catch up, forcing them in this direction, and those Mutas will be able to take out the last of that Hellion. Not even bothering to chase, though. We'll just be using those Speedlings to try to take him out. Mutas now moving back to the main base here of TAiLS. TAiLS continuing up those Marine numbers, as you can see in that production tab. Also starting to get that tank research coming out. We'll be going straight for those attachments. Wants to cut back on that Marine production by taking out those reactors and forcing a rebuild time. Could also try to engage some of those supply depots. That's going to be very problematic for TAiLS as well. Getting supply blocked, obviously a major issue in this game. Marines stimming up, but still not even landing a Muta kill there. Muta is able to make it back nice and safe. Now, I do want to take a look. Haven't looked at this yet, but take a look at the unit loss tab. It does look like TAiLS is slightly behind. That's partially going to be due to the fact that this Muta harass so far hasn't really taken much damage at all. A couple of Marines landing in the main, that is not going to do much damage, but pay attention to that mini-map, because at the exact same time, we've got units pushing across the middle. Marine Marauder and a few tanks. First and foremost, taking out all those Creep Tumors. He, again, really wants to deny that vision, and also, of course, forcing that creep to recede. Makes it so that Genius won't be getting that speed boost this far out into the center of the map. As you can see, that creep slowly going further and further back. Units pulling back to the main base right now. TAiLS wants to make sure he can defend himself against this what's going to be constant Muta harass. You can see those Muta numbers are not getting any smaller. Genius just constantly rebuilding these Mutalists, coming out with more and more. He's still got 3 more coming into play. And again, a lot of harass there, very effective as well from Genius. I've been pretty impressed so far with the amount of damage he has been able to do with this. He's going to be trying to push himself continuously through to the middle of the map. There's another fresh creep tumor getting landed down. And again, allowing Genius to try to spread that as far as possible. It is so frustrating as a Zerg player, the amount of effort that goes into spreading that creep as opposed to how easy it is for a Terran player to just drop a scan and take it out, or even Protoss opponent walking with their death ball plus an observer. That can be a lot of frustrating because I mean, it's obviously relatively simple. You grab a creep tumor and you hit C and you place it somewhere else, but having to consistently do that over and over and over again to try to get decent creep spread and then have your opponent so easily take it out can certainly be very frustrating. Actually, a little sandwich there. Marines at both sides, but still not able to get a lot of muta-kills. Look at this back here. Forces of Genius working on these back rocks, allowing him to push into this third for whenever TAiLS does eventually get that expansion up and running. Muta's in the main right now, engaging the missile turret, then pulling back. And what do we have? We got a transition coming out. No, there is no hive tech yet. Evolution chamber coming on through, just now getting that infestation pit. It's not until that is up that he's going to be able to work his way up into hive tech. So he delayed that higher tech just to come out basically with this mass of mutas, and it's certainly been pretty effective for him. A major concern, though, is that as these marine numbers grow and grow, it's going to be pretty difficult. Look at that, intercepting the drop. That was beautiful. And Genius now with that death cloud of mutas just walking into the main, taking out 2 turrets and then pulling back. Unfortunately, though, did end up losing 1 Mutalisk as a result. Question then becomes, was it really worth it? Mutalisk, of course, costing 100 Vespene and 100 minerals. Losing 1 just to take out 2 turrets. It's kind of a tough call, but you know what? He's got to work his way down and just continue to work through that Terran army and try to really delay TAiLS as much as possible. Some Marines pulling forward, providing a buffer for this expansion. At least at the moment, though, TAiLS knows that this expansion is up, so he knows about that high yield. At the same time, he has got a high yield as well as his 4th expansion up, and we got actually an engagement coming down right here. Speedlings, Banelings pushing forward, as well as his mutas. He just wants to push back those Marines and try to do as much damage as possible, basically sacrificing those Speedlings and Banelings to try to allow those Mutalisks to do a little bit of damage to that command center, also killing off a few of those SCVs over there as well. Looks like that transition is coming into effect right now for Genius. We can see Infestation Pit coming out with those pathogen glands. We got a lot of Speedlings coming out. Also working his way right now into that Hive Tech. Now back over here, still Marine Tank. We'll be throwing some Thors into the mix as well. Taking a look at the upgrades. He's 1-1 right now. Also has level 2 weapons upgrades coming out. Genius sitting at some very strong upgrades. He's got O2 for his air units. And also getting a bunch of upgrades for those ground units. You can see that little Muta engagement again, just trying to poke and prod there. Now he is 1-1 at the moment, and level 2 Carpus is coming out as well. So in terms of those ground units, they're pretty much about even. But again, do keep in mind that we've got some pretty solid upgrades for those Mutalisks. That's going to make it that much easier for them to pick things off. A couple of Marines getting caught out of position. Oh no! That, again, some micro from Genius. Something that's happened a few times in this series. Kind of just losing units unnecessarily is basically what it comes down to, like throwing units in situations where they really shouldn't be going. We can see the Marine drop over here. That is primed to take out this expansion, and hopefully Genius will be able to respond quickly enough. We do have a slow push coming out for TAiLS across the center of the map, providing a buffer there for his expansion. Also that center tower allowing him to see any pushes that may be coming against that. Do finally have some infestors in play. A scan from TAiLS allows him to see the fact that there are some infestors coming in the works now. And oh no, those tanks very out of position. Marines pulled all the way back. That allowed for some free snipes. I believe he got 4 siege tanks there. That was a major problem. I'm not sure what forced him to push back. Maybe there was some harass and went down over here. And actually, there we go. The unbelievable, the drop from TAiLS, able to take out this expansion, forced to cancel, I believe, is what ended up happening there. Get another push moving across the map here for TAiLS. He is continuing to push his way towards that center. Is actually finally engaging this very heavy spine crawler line. We've got Corruptors coming in play. Also that Greater Spire working its way through. There's a drop inside of the main, though. So Genius is going to have to deal with that. TAiLS forced to push back right now with his units. Where is he going? Where is he going indeed? I'm not entirely sure what he's doing. We got a push coming from this direction. Those Speedlings and Mutas, he was just preparing to deal with that. Tanks actually unsieging and pushing back over here. The medevac is lifted up. Again, we do have that Greater Spire in play. Infestors doing what they can to deal with that. Siege line setting up shop. Oh no, shelling out those Zerglings, getting an Infestor there as well. We got 5 Brood Lords coming into play TAiLS stimming down. He's trying to engage these Speedlings and Mutas, trying to take them out while they are out of position. We need some Infestors to come into play and help out with this. The Spine Crawler line is huge. We got Marines walking into those Spine Crawlers, taking some pretty hefty damage. He should be really using his siege tanks to take out this, but here come these Broodlords, and these Broodlords are right underneath these Marines. They're going to get target fire down right away. There are still 3 Broodlords left. One of them is still morphing in, and the Spine Crawlers plus those Speedlings and Banelings able to take out so many of those Marines, and there are almost no Marines left. That Thor gets taken out, and right now Genius is going to be able to mop up the rest of what TAiLS has in the center of the map. I am not sure that TAiLS really wanted to engage there. He got a little trigger happy spotting those Broodlords, but ended up walking into Speedlings and Banelings, losing a bulk of his Marines as a result. And then now, you know, we have still got, that was a really unbelievable. We still have Broodlords in play. That's the problem. So it wasn't really worth it. That's the major issue there. You can't get too over anxious in a situation like that. Yes, you see Broodlords morphing in. Obviously, you want to take them out. But walking into that Spine Crawler fire plus those Speedlings and Banelings ended up making it so that he lost all of his Marines. And then all of a sudden, now you've got nothing to deal with those Broodlords. So certainly a major issue indeed. Still a few Mutalists bouncing around the map, trying to do a little bit of damage here and there. We take a look at the army supply. We can see Genius is ahead at the moment. Not doing anything with his Broodlords. He's got them kind of sitting in the center of the map, actually pulling back with those over there. Finally working their way back to the center. I'm not entirely certain. He may have dealt with a drop over there that I missed, and I'm very sorry if that was in fact the case, but it doesn't look like there was any drop damage that was dealt, so I'm really not sure why he pulled back with those Broodlords. Muta's back over here engaging the main base here of TAiLS, and again just picking off turrets and then grabbing some of these attachments, going straight for those reactors. Really hurts the ability of the Marine production there for TAiLS, and that's a major issue. Forced also to recreate those missile turrets to try to prevent any further Muta harass from being that effective. We'll be having a few Speedlings and Banelings actually moving down over here just to prepare to deal with any possible drops. We've got 1 Marine scouting out over in this position. Mutas should be able to pick him off there, but unfortunately just bypassing there. Mutas dancing around. We get some Vikings moving forward to try to engage with that. Few Speedlings sitting over here. 2 drops coming down over here for TAiLS. TAiLS moving right into the main there. Continuous upgrades coming out for both players right now. In fact, we do have a Mobius reactor coming through. That Marine drop going to do a little bit of damage. He did walk into some Baneling fire. Took some pretty hefty losses there as a result. We'll be pushing down with those Broodlords plus Speedlings and Banelings to try to take this out. He's in danger of losing the Great Spire. Banelings, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, again with the major miss micro and some Mutas walking into Stim Marine fire. I am really not sure about Genius's play right now. That was very unfortunate. He had Banelings that could have taken out those Marines and stopped them from dropping that Greater Spire. Right now he's going to be forced to recreate that Spire and come out with a Greater Spire. Some nice fungal growth action though, taking out all those Marines. Just a few Marines left. That was very beautiful placement of those fungal growths. Excellent response there by Genius. But geez, holy hell, that was very painful to watch. He just completely dropped the ball in terms of saving. That Greater Spire there. He had Banelings just kind of chilling out right up here. He could have taken out those Marines much more quickly than he did. But unfortunately, again, due to that miss micro just not being where he needed to be, in terms of his camera, his camera needed to be on that, but unfortunately it wasn't. It was elsewhere, and ended up taking some damage as a result. Now we can see Genius now making a push here with those Broodlords, and there's not a lot of tanks, and that's actually a major issue because here come those Speedlings, Banelings, and Infestors. Couple Corruptors will be trying to defend those Broodlords from getting taken out by those Vikings. Nice fungal on all of those Marines, and this is going very in the favor of Genius. Genius in a completely one-sided position right now. He is so far ahead of TAiLS, and there it is, TAiLS calling the GG and ending this series. All right, my friends, there you go. That was game number 4 and the final game in the series between TAiLS and Genius. Genius did end up winning the series 3 games to 1 against TAiLS. Even with some major miss micro by Genius, he was still able to overpower TAiLS. He did a great job of Muta harass, and overall it was a relatively good game with some minor glaring issues. But that's about that. Thanks for watching the series, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Keep watching and keep owning.